So this is the beginning of Part C video. I've been working with this Part C video for quite some time now, and for some odd reason I'm not able to upload any kind of long videos. I don't. A few of you've been looking at them and saying that they're not available because the video is too long. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that account and those videos. So I'm just going to go ahead and redo one and try to make it a little bit shorter and maybe just cut down on some stuff. So this is what we're looking to complete by the end of this pulley video. So I want to have this set up. I did put our standard B-size title block. I'll leave that for you to get that in on your own, and we are just going to be dropping in the front view, the right side, and the isometric. So just to kind of go back, and I'm not going to go over this. I don't know if it was in the second video or not, but I did have this dimension right here drawn incorrectly on the first sketch. So I did make that change and then made this dimension here 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go back through and show you how to put those center lines on this part, and I'm going to back it up to where I start this whole video. But I just wanted to show you from the beginning what this part is going to look like. Some of you can just see that and you kind of know what to go from here on out. For everyone else, I'm going to walk you through each one of these steps individually. So I'm going to start with the B-size title block, or with the standard D-size title block, and I'm going to go to Edit Sheet and switch that over to a B-size sheet of paper. When I bring in this view, because it's rotated, I'm going to want to flip that around and bring in my front view, and I do need my isometric, so I'll project that over here in just a minute. Now, what's different on this drawing is this is called a section drawing. So when you create a section drawing, what it means is you're going to be splitting the part in half, and you're going to be showing the inside components. Not all of the parts that are shown here can be dimensioned from the front view. If we do a right side view, there are some key features on there that are hidden, specifically this dimension right here. So if you were dimensioning that, you would have to go to a hidden line, and that goes against our ANSI rules for dimensioning. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to create a section. Before we get too far into this, I should have fixed my little pulley drawing here. We do need to change the number of hole patterns. You guys had five holes on this feature. It was 5. It did look like this. So looking at that drawing there, that's what it looked like. So you can see when you go into the pulley drawing and you make those changes and you make a change to it, it does update on your drawing. So you do need to go back to your pulley drawing and make that 6 holes instead of 5. The reason we're doing that is because it said so, and I needed to go ahead and set up my center lines. So I want to get that done first. So I'm going to look at the textbook. If you're following along, we are looking at page 1132, where you're going to be applying the center lines for this. So I always like to use a good rule of thumb is to start with your center lines first and then work from there to your dimension. So this centered pattern is what we're going to be using. When you click on centered pattern, the first thing you want to do is point to the center of your circle, and then you're going to point to each one of the center lines in that pattern. So I'm just going through each one of these. I want to make sure I click the last one. And here's the thing. At the very end, when you do that, after you click the last circle, right click and hit create, and that's going to place those center lines on there. The center line that's given to you at the beginning here, you can click on that center line, and whenever you see those green dots, that is the edit mode, so you can change the center line. Now for this one, I'm probably not going to go too far because I don't want to create a solid line over top of that center line for that hole. So I'm going to extend that center line out and then leave just a little space there in between. So just kind of pull that out to the side. So I've got my center lines drawn out, and now I'm ready to cut. Ooh, you know what? I don't need this one. I'm getting ready to cut a section. So with that section being cut, that's gonna change a little bit. So let's go ahead and we'll cut that section. So when we cut a section, it creates what's called a cutting plane line. The cutting plane line is a line that kind of cuts through, and it shows like where that slice is happening on your part. It uses two arrows at the end to show the line of direction, and it shows like how you're looking into the part. So when you use the section command, let me switch over here. We're going to be using, make sure you're under place views. We're going to click on a section, and we're going to have to highlight the box or around the view that we're using. So this is kind of like you just click there one time with your left mouse button, and that tells Inventor that, hey, this is the view that I'm getting ready to cut a section. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to point to the center. I'm not clicking, okay, so don't click yet. I'm just pointing, getting my pointer lined up, and I'm just dragging my mouse, and I'm not selecting a point yet. I'm not picking anything at this point. I'm just getting that little dotted line to go out and extend out past the point or of the circle. We typically go about 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that line out. And there's no way for you to know exactly where 1/2 inch is. It's just out of time and experience looking at these section views and drawing it. You know, there's no need to have a cutting plane that's like way out here. Doesn't make any difference. But if you do put the cutting plane line on the edge right there, it's going to give you a distorted view on your section. So we always go out past the object and just kind of eyeball what a half of an inch might look like. So I'm going to click right there. So that was my second click. So the first click was at the top. The second click was down here at the bottom. And now we're going to right click and hit continue. And that's going to bring up my section view. So when I bring the section, you can see the A down there changing left to right. I want that to, there's no point to give a left side view. So I'm going to make my right side view into a section. So I'm going to pull that section over to that view. Click right there, and there is my section view. So from here, the last thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and do my last projected view, and that is my auxiliary view over on the right. So I'm going to hit create there, right click that, change that view to shaded, and there we go. So what I'm going to do now is finish putting center lines. I'm going to go put some dimensions on here, the ones that I think you should have no trouble with, and then I'll come back and wrap up some of the other dimensions. So if you want, you could have right-clicked on this view and retrieve the model dimensions or the model annotations. If you did the linear diameter dimensions on the pulley drawing, you could get those. You do need to rework those. When you put dimensions on a section view, you do need to make sure that they're staggered. So just pick on the dimension and move those and make sure they're staggered. None of your dimensions should ever be in line with each other. As you're dimensioning this 1.5 dimension, I did not like the dimension on the part. One of the rules says to always avoid putting dimensions on the part. So I pulled the 1.5 inches down here on the bottom. You could also pull it up to the top. Either or is fine. This section A-A does move. What you will do is when you point to it, and when you see the little move box pop up, you can then move that down. You should not have this closer to the part and then have the dimensions pull through it. The section note is always down below it. So you should be able to put those dimensions on. Let me know if you have any issues with those. And the other two things that we need to get over here on this view is just simply using the annotate command to get the leader, the angle. So just pointing to those two, pull that 60 degrees out, and I'm always looking for where that little dotted dimension line pops up, so you know that you are in the right place. The last one I'm going to do is the dimension for this 1/2 inch. When it's that is a 1/2 inch dimension. ANSI standard is to now show what are the quantity. So this has 6 of them. So you put a 6x for 6 times, and then unhide that dimension value, and then you will have the correct notation for that. So this is basically the end of this problem. Make sure you're saving it as 1135-1. Remember, this is a sample drawing. This is part of your graded practice drawings, and you've got this here to go by. So try to use this as a guide as you are completing this problem.